Welcome back to Pine Tree State Restorations with the vintage BB gun shootout. Okay, let's start out with one of my favorite cowboy replicas. They first made this gun in 1960, and this is the Daisy 179. They made this from 1960 to 1981, and then they quit, and then they came back out in 92 and 96 with a safety model. Now, I don't like the safety model. I like the first model. This is the first model. They came out with several different variations of this gun, but basically it's a BB repeater. There's no CO2. It works on a catapult system on the inside of the gun. It's low velocity, a couple hundred feet per second, but it is tons of fun. Tons of fun. And how it works is you cock it like that, and you pull the trigger, and inside the gun, there's a slide right here that slides back, and you can put like 18 BBs in there. Now, one thing you don't want to do with the 179 is dry fire it, because right there, the frame likes to break over time. Okay? And you can tell this is an early model. It doesn't have the window in it for telling if there's a BB in there. And you don't want to dry fire it at all. Okay? Like I just did, I'll show you a dry fire. That's a dry fire right there. The 179 is just a really cool gun. Like I said, it's low powered, but it is tons and tons of fun. And now they made a few of these in brass. They're called salesman models or limited edition models. They only made a few, and they're super ultra rare, and they're worth thousands of dollars. Never seen one, but I know they're out there. Now, what goes wrong with the 179 is this tube that goes back and forth. It's like a little piece of nylon with notches cut in it, because inside the gun, it goes in and it curls up and pushes BBs up into the chamber. And what happens is that nylon breaks. Now, you could make a new one out of nylon. It's real small nylon. And you got to basically copy it by cutting notches in it, relief notches in it. It can be done. It's not that difficult. And the other thing that goes wrong is inside the gun, you take this apart, the screws off, half this gun will come off on this side. Inside the gun, where that comes up, there's a little spring and a little plunger that goes behind that BB feed system. Now, if that spring or that plunger is messed up, like someone took it apart and lost it, the gun won't fire, because it'll push a BB up, and that little plunger puts one BB in at a time. So there's a little spring and a little plunger. This one's missing the spring. Someone lost it. The plunger's in there. So I got to make a new spring for it or buy one. Not a big deal. And then it'll work right. Okay, so that's the Daisy 179. And I had these when I was a kid. And this is one of my favorite BB guns of all time. Next up is the Marksman Repeater. This is an MBR. This is the first model made in Torrance, California, and it looks like a Colt 1911. Heavy. Really nice gun. The first models had a brass barrel. Okay? Those are the ones you want. This one was made in Torrance, California. It's all metal. Everything's metal. The trigger, the safety, it's all metal. Even the barrel assembly on top is all metal. Okay? What goes wrong with these are, not much usually, but if you want to take it apart, that's the tricky part. So you push this down. If you look down in there, you'll see that pin going into the handle. Flip it over. And if you pull that back, there's a notch. When I cock this gun, here, let me set the camera down and I'll pull it back for you. All right. If you look down in there, there's a notch and a clip. You got to pull that little clip out of there, and then that'll release that handle, and then you can spread the handle slightly apart to get it off the gun, and then you can unscrew the screws and take the gun apart and reverse the process when you put it back together. What goes wrong with these guns is the barrel has a little rubber gasket that goes in between here, and it kind of holds the BB in. That gets bad, and the BB will fall out. It'll get hard, and the BB will fall out. Also, sometimes inside the gun here, the spring will come off the trigger mechanism, which is an easy fix. But more importantly, you need to oil this with heavy oil. There's a tube in there and a spring in there. The spring is greased, and then you want to put in, 4 or 5 drops of good 30 weight oil right down the barrel. And because inside there's a big old leather plunger, and that needs to be lubed up. You can see the spring through there right there. Okay. Now, when it's cocked back, you can push down on the front of the barrel, open it up, and drop the BBs in the top part that holds all the BBs. Okay. When you're cocking the gun, you need to hold the gun up when you cock it and then push it forward, and that'll bring a BB into the barrel. If you hold the gun down and cock it, it won't bring a BB in. Got to remember that. So, this was first made in 1958 to 1977, the all-metal version, which is the best one to get. I have several of these. And then in 77, they moved to Huntington, and they were plastic trigger, plastic safety, plastic barrel assembly. And then in 1990, they did it again, and they plasticed everything up. I only care about the first ones because they're 100% metal and just so much better made. Brass barrel. That's the only one I care about. Again, this is a low velocity gun, but it is mega, mega, mega tons of fun. You can shoot this all day long and laugh. Knocking beer cans over, just shooting everything in sight. It's not so powerful that people are going to get hurt. It's not so powerful that you got to worry about where the BBs go. It's just fun. Now, it's got a real short barrel, 2.5 inches. But here's the thing. If you're within 15, 20 feet, it's pretty accurate. Farther than that, and the BBs are going to go all over the place. It really wasn't made for accuracy, but it is a lot of fun. This is one of my favorite BB guns of all time. The MBR, the Marksman Repeater. It's one of my favorite guns. Next one up is not often seen, is the High Score. Okay, this gun compared to those two is a lot more powerful. This first came out in 1946, if you can believe that, and 1968 was the last year. And this gun's a powerhouse. This does like 400 or 500 feet per second. She's a smoker. Heavy, very heavy, all steel, super heavy, super well made, super balanced. It's just a nice gun. They made several variants: short barrels, stub barrels, long barrels, pearl grips, target models. This is a target model. This is a repeater. In the back, you can load 6 pellets in the back, and every time you rotate that disc, it'll put a pellet in the barrel, and then you cock the gun and fire. How you cock the gun is you pull this little lever, push this little pin, this barrel tips up, and you push it back down. It's pretty hard because this thing's a beast. It's very accurate. It's got a rifled barrel, all steel. The whole receiver is one piece. It's just well made. It was designed by an automotive engineer. And this guy, he didn't shed no expense building this gun. This is a nice gun. This is not often seen, the High Score. One of my favorites. All these guns are not CO2 powered. They're all either spring powered. They're all pistons. How this works is if you put the wrong pellets in those holes, like if they're too long, that mechanism won't work because this rotates and puts a pellet in every time you want to shoot it. All 3 of these guns are spring powered, piston spring powered, except for the 179, which uses a catapult type system. Now, what goes wrong with the high score is this. They make a single shot version and a multi-shot version. What happens is people get pellets jammed up in this mechanism, and then it won't turn, it won't work. That's what's wrong with this one. I got to take this apart. There's a snap ring in there. You got to take that off, pull that all apart, clean that all up. Where the pellet rides in there, it's like a drum. You want to polish everything. You want to clean it all up, remove any burrs. You don't want anything snagging. Take it apart, clean it, get all the burrs off, put it back together, get it working right, and make sure you don't use too long of a pellet, like a pointy pellet. You got to use a flat nose pellet, short pellet, like a Crossman pellet, flat, not point, because a point will get in there and jam that up, and you'll have a problem. So when you open this gun up, you can oil it underneath. You can see the piston right there. But these are my 3 favorite BB guns. This one will shoot a pellet. This one will also shoot pellets one at a time. The Daisy will only shoot BBs. That's it. No pellets. No way to put them in there. This is, you can shoot BBs in this, but this is a pellet gun right there. But these are I have more BB guns, but these are my favorite 3. And probably my favorite of all time is probably this Marksman MBR, because I had one when I was a kid. I shot the whole entire universe with it. It's just a fun gun. And I tell you what, when you're like 7, 8 years old and you got one of these strapped to your side and you're walking around, you think you're just the bomb, you know. I remember those days. So once again, thanks for watching Pine Tree State Restorations, and we will see you soon.